Welcome in to a brand new episode of Real Friends. We kind of combined our Monday post-show Oscars talk with straight into an episode of Real Friends. So it's going to be a little weird. There's an intro to set it up. Don't be confused by the changing signage. Basically, this is just an Oscar reaction show. We're going to get into it. Here we go. Look, nobody needs to separate from Harvey Weinstein more than the Academy because Harvey Weinstein dominated their ass for years. Like, Harvey Weinstein used to get his pictures nominated on a yearly basis, strong-arming, et cetera, et cetera.
He got the King's Speech an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty good campaign.
I've always wondered if I'm crazy because I didn't think the King's Speech was that good. I mean, it was all right.
It was okay.
It was fine.
But yeah, so whatever. Screw Harvey Weinstein. That seemed to be a lot of the sentiment.
There wasn't like
night.
as many jokes about it as I thought. Like they kind of just were like, which
That
I think
was
was better.
surprising.
I think it was better that they went that route because it was almost like we don't care. Like we're done with you.
Yeah.
You know, like
I didn't think it was overly political last night, actually. Frances McDormand had a nice moment talking about, asking all the women to stand up in the audience and everything. And then going on talking about the inclusion rider. Did you know what the inclusion rider is,
Not
Nathan?
until last night when she...
Neither did I. Can you explain it for the people?
Well, it pretty much means that you're
Hold
able...
on, get in that
You're
mic a
able
little bit. Get in that
to
mic.
negotiate...
Get up on it. Get up on it. I want to hear that voice.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
What is, I don't know what's this.
Here,
is-
tilt it up a little bit.
this one doesn't really tilt that much. I think yours tilts the best.
Oh.
I
very
think
used to-
that it means...
It was a
Okay,
bad
that's
joke.
bad.
Yeah, I don't
Bad.
know. It wasn't going
That's all where you
anywhere.
were going.
Yeah, it wasn't going anywhere. So I gripped it. Is that how? Okay, what were you saying, Nick?
I think it means that you're able to negotiate... Isn't it 50% of the amount of inclusion is up to 50%?
That's what I've heard. It's
in
something
the production?
about the diversity both behind the camera and on camera.
Yeah.
50% diversity. Now,
Like you have control over that.
yeah, like the actress does as to whether or not I'll appear in a movie. So I think first off, you have to be a very high profile actor,
Right.
to demand this. So Frances could demand this. A few people could.
If you're asked to be an extra, you probably can't.
Not me.
No, sorry.
You don't think
Rivers.
my one extra role in that Kevin Durant movie is going to get me this?
I think if you hadn't looked at the camera, if you
they were like, she's out.
just barely missed the inclusion rider opportunity. So that's cool. I do have questions about what exactly is 50% diversity?
I don't know.
Is that white people and minorities? Is it male and female? Is it both? I don't know. But look, I am someone who I agree with what a lot of people talked about last night. Actually, I think the Coco speech talked about this. I think that inclusion or representation is very important. So I'm always down.
I
for
liked
more diversity.
how the Coco speech was going a little bit long, so they started playing them off. But whenever the second person that was going to speak said, "This is not for you guys. This is for my dead mother," they turned the music on. It's like, okay, let him go. He can keep going.
That's true.
Wait, who won the jet ski?
Mark Bridges, who was the costume designer on Phantom Thread.
Cool.
Yeah. And then,
I would have been all about that jet ski. First of all, I have two things to say about
Him
that.
and
One,
Helen
they said
Mirren
wait, hold on.
on the
Set
jet
it up.
ski.
Set it up so people know in case they didn't watch the Oscars.
So last night, Jimmy Kimmel was like, "Look, we get it. We don't want to take away from your speeches and you thanking all the people you love and that have worked really hard on these films, but just as like an incentive to maybe speed it up a little, the person with the shortest thank you speech gets this jet ski."
Yeah.
And so they show the jet ski, and it's
And
like
a trip
very
to
like
Lake Havasu.
it's like very like Bob Barker style. So, the jet ski though was valued at $17,999. That can't be right.
Oh no! I mean, look,
Jet ski for $18,000. What else does that jet ski do?
it probably goes really fast.
It goes fast
on the water.
I don't know what a jet ski can do, so I'm sure there are lots of specifics that you can get into.
You can
feel
ride.
like you could buy a house.
You could ride. You could. Well, I don't know if you could buy a house.
My concept of what things cost is not great, but like
the down payment on a cheap
A car.
house. Yeah, a car for
that
sure.
can drive on land.
But when you're talking about a jet ski like that, like it was a big one, like 3 or 4 seater. Essentially, that does become kind of a mini boat. Like you could do skiing behind that. You could do tubing. You could do wakeboarding. But I mean, you're not going to be able to hit the sweet jumps.
How much can you
because
get
you're not going to have the weight.
for an Oscar?
I don't know. Okay, so fine. So then it's very expensive jet ski. Yeah, I would have been all over that. I would have got up to that mic and been like, "Peace, I'm getting a jet ski, y'all. Bye."
I liked.
Like, who cares? Y'all know I'm thankful for you.
I did like.
I'm thankful for you. Bye.
I did like how at the end the guy who won it, they brought him out riding on the jet ski with Helen Mirren, and
The way he looked
that was
so
great.
happy, his
He
face was
looked
all red,
so
and Helen
happy,
Mirren was
dude.
just.
Oh, he looked so happy. So it was a fun Oscars. overall. Nathan, did anything surprise you from last night?
The fact that Dear, not politically, nothing about the Me Too thing. The fact that Dear Basketball won for best short animation.
I did not
just
see
in
it,
the
so-
value of it. There was so much more creative stuff that went into
Really?
it. I get that it Negative Space is claymation about a man talking about how he was taught by his father to pack up his suitcase, and the way that his dad showed him that you're supposed to pack up his suitcase, and he used to always pack it for his dad before he went on trips.
And then I said, I think he's at his dad's funeral. I saw it.
And then he looks at the coffin and he says, and all I could see was all that empty space.
Stop breaking my heart.
I know the
Yeah,
little
you're
5-second
Kobe?
vignette that I saw about Negative Space looked
It's
pretty
really
sad.
good. It's really good. There wasn't really. I
But
didn't think
look,
there was
as we
anything
said during our
massively.
actual radio show, L.A. loves
Oh,
Kobe
yeah.
Bryant,
Yeah.
and rightfully so. I mean, he is.
Look, I'm going to be
one of
honest.
their hometown
I'm
heroes.
not trying to not Me Too, but like he's kind of been like he was cleared of all that, right?
Yeah.
I might be wrong. Like,
No,
I was,
charges?
I was
I think
under
that
the impression that he was cleared of all of those charges, and like that's not a thing anymore. And so legally, like if she's backed down and she said, okay, no, like,
Yeah.
and they investigated and they found that he was not in the wrong. Like I can't sit back and be like,
Yeah,
No, you're lying.
because there's
Like-
going to be articles today that come out about how Kobe winning it is bad because it's like not representative of where the Oscars should be at this point. And there's an element of that's true. Like there is something that you can definitely get cynical about the Academy.
It is hypocritical.
Yeah, there you can definitely get cynical about the Academy being so forceful about their Me Too message, considering up until a couple of months ago
Right.
it was the norm.
October.
And
This was in
accepted.
October.
That's what I'm saying. And people knew about it and they let it go on forever. That said, even like I'll still take that kind of self-serving, we're so forward thinking. Like I'll take that if
Jimmy
it
Kimmel
leads
did make a
to
really good
actual
joke.
positive change.
I think it was in
I'm
his
cool with that.
monologue, maybe you heard it, but he made a joke about how he was like, I think it's really important this work we're doing, for about sexual assault and this and that, so that in our industry and at work, women aren't sexually harassed, so that when they leave work, they can be harassed in every other part of their life.
Yeah,
And
that was.
I like could not stop laughing, and I was watching with a group of guys, and they were all like, "What?" And I was like, "It's just so true. Like it's so true."
dude.
And that it's-
I mean, I whistle at women all the time
You
when I'm
gotta
off the
start
clock.
but you know what? You got to start somewhere. It's like whatever.
And yeah, I know. Yeah, I think the charges were dropped. I mean, and you can never really know. And I'm
But
pretty
so then-
skeptical with that type of thing.
I guess-
Of course, if a rich person, the charges are dropped against them,
Okay,
how
yeah,
I
could
don't
that
want to get lost in
possibly
the
have ever
weeds. I don't want to
happened?
get lost in the weeds of this, but I guess in my mind, it's like, so what you're saying is that no matter whether things are true or not true, once you've been accused, like we can't.
And that's the other
You know,
thing.
and
That's
that's like-
in that's
and that's
in
the
the
thing.
court.
It's like-
Those are in the courts. Like, of course,
Right.
OJ was cleared in the courts. That does not mean people were comfortable being around him.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
And
Yeah.
that extends beyond what you're talking about. I think extends way beyond just
Right.
Kobe. It extends to every single
Absolutely.
case in this. Now,
And that's why it's like you can get lost in this, but like that's kind of where I'm at. It's like he was cleared, and so in my mind, like legally he was cleared. Like
Yeah.
I can't keep thinking he's a bad guy because they've told me that they investigated.
I
it
think
and that he's
now,
He's
not.
also really
now
good at sports.
Christopher Davis does
True.
point out in the
But I'm
huddle.
not even
though.
a big Kobe fan. Like
Christopher Davis does point out in the huddle they didn't investigate and find he wasn't in the wrong. He settled with her out of court,
Okay.
meaning he just paid
Bill
her off. I don't know
O'Reilly
if that's
stuff
true.
going on here.
Bill O'Reilly stuff.
So it's like I do struggle to trust just the pure legal definition,
Right.
Whether or not because you can massage it so much, but like with
Hey,
the Kobe
can you?
situation, yeah, exactly. But with the Kobe
If it
situation,
consents.
the problem is it's hard to believe the victim, and this is sad because if she really was victimized, she's being further victimized because they threw out kind of about her past with like maybe she was a bit loose with her morals.
Which I don't like that.
At
I'm not into
time,
that. Ugh.
and Kobe Bryant is who he is, and it's like, well, of course you wanted to sleep with this super rich superstar, and that all gets weird, but it is kind of like
That's how the Michael.
I guess it's hard to hold it over Kobe's head without some more damning information.
Right.
Like, yes, he cheated on his wife, which is terrible,
right.
Yeah.
but eventually that's
that's
not
like
something that
the,
you can't overcome as far as a public image
Gosh,
goes.
that kind of what they were saying about her. The Michael Fassbender stuff. Have y'all read any of that stuff?
no,
Oh, yeah.
So he was accused, but basically,
shame.
He wasn't accused. I mean, there was a restraining order, but his ex-girlfriend for a long time, like apparently just like some stuff got physical, and she went to the police. She had like bruises, the whole thing. There's a restraining order, and then afterwards, I hate this, but like afterwards, they were like, well, this is like the third time that she's accuse someone with actual like marks and whatever of sexual. I mean, not sexual, just assault,
Physical abuse. Yeah.
And so it's like, and they say that in that like. That maybe either she put herself in that situation with like three different situations, or maybe she like deserved it, or like that's just like it's so crappy. But
yeah,
like,
that's even the implication just in
Well,
bringing
she
that
said
up.
that she was getting out of the car when they were having an argument at a stoplight,
Like,
and
drug
then he
her.
just drove away. And she
Damn, I
was-
like Fassbender.
I know.
I love Fassbender.
Not Fassbender.
That's what
too.
sucks about this thing.
But you know what I think is also interesting? So all of that happened years and years ago.
That was before he was famous.
Yeah, it was before he was famous, and so it happened years and years ago, and then they dealt with it. And it's almost like because it happened a long time ago, and like they already dealt with it, that people don't really care anymore.
And it is. It
It's
feels
it's
different
strange.
whenever
It's-
if you're dealing with this as a normal and you don't have your celebrity to kind of defend you in a lot of ways. Then it feels like it is a different situation because
no one's really talking about it. I mean, other than like I read that article,
Right.
but like no one's really talking about it.
No, and there's been a few people who have been talked about, but not like Casey Affleck, because he was kind of being
James
mentioned.
Franco too,
at the
right?
beginning of the- James
Yeah.
Franco's got some, and I've got
That stuff is creepy.
got
Ryan
something
is really
Seacrest.
oh no, not even Seacrest.
They got
huh?
Seacrest, y'all.
With what?
I don't
Absolutely.
remember what the deal was, but
I don't.
saw,
No, I don't remember what it was, but they kind of
it
grilled
was
him
like
a little
some
bit on the red
crotch
carpet.
grabbing or something.
So
No, seriously, like I think that was.
it's crazy. Man.
Yeah,
I think that in these cases, I mean, they're so hard to talk about because we don't know what actually happened. I think that it's almost you just have to do your best to try to judge on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
It is interesting. A lot of times though. It's more clear cut than other people. Like some people would have you believe that, like, oh, you're just automatically guilty. Like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah.
There's been times where people have been accused. They said they didn't do it, and everybody's been like, yeah, it doesn't seem like they did it. But a lot of times they've been accused, and they come out and they admit it.
Right.
And so I don't know. I
When
mean,
you have that, did y'all listen to the Harvey Weinstein tape where he's trying to get that model into his room?
Oh,
it's
no.
scary.
That would make me gross
No,
out. Like I
no,
can't
no.
just because he's just. Ugh.
I kind of want to listen to it though, just to see what.
Oh,
he,
absolutely,
like, what he
because
would say.
then you hear like this is not just a fake thing. Like,
Yeah.
he is absolutely disgusting.
It's almost like what if they had like Donald Trump on tape saying stuff like that? Wouldn't that be
That'd be
crazy?
so crazy.
Is there a tape of Donald Trump saying
That'd
that?
be
Not
no,
that
surely
we know
not,
of,
dude.
yeah.
Surely
Nothing.
not. Can't be.
grabbing anything.
You can't be. You couldn't get away with anything if you made a tape like that. So look, okay. So let's kind of move away from the
Yeah.
Me Too movement. As a now father
They also
of a
did a
daughter.
gun thing. You want to get into the gun conversation?
They did. I couldn't remember. Somebody invited them to like they're doing some sort of thing
March-
with the
yeah,
school.
the
Yeah,
March for
someone that was really the only time I heard them talk about the gun thing was when they invited them to just like join the.
As a father of a daughter, I want a more safe workplace and world for my daughter. So, however shallowy,
When is she getting into the workforce? By the way, it's been a while.
In a couple
Yeah,
years.
I feel like
couple
she's
years,
kind of
probably.
like mooching off you guys at this point.
A little bit, to be honest.
Snowflake.
I'm starting to feel the strain financially. Yeah, so I don't know. Even if their motivations are shallow, I'm cool if it leads to change. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, Nathan, what else stood out at the
gotta
Oscars,
say,
though?
I've been listening to the Shape of Water soundtrack for about a week now. It's wonderful.
It's
if I
incredible.
was like having a party,
It's
I
not
would
a bad
put
song.
the Shape of Water
Probably
soundtrack
wouldn't put that on
on
at a party. I'm going to be really honest with you guys.
I think if you're having an intellectual party, you
Okay.
can.
I would say
Intellectual.
our parties might be different.
That's
I don't.
true.
I don't.
I used to
don't
play
put-
I
Teenage
don't like your real.
Dirtbag.
Well, I wonder.
Okay,
I wonder
yeah.
what you think my parties are like.
I used
I
to
don't
play
do real. I don't have
beer
rangers.
pong?
I don't do maybe sometimes. But that's like not. That's like a special occasion.
Flip cup.
Yeah, I can
And
do that.
like if you've got nice, if you're doing an open house, how about maybe think about an open house?
Be great for an open house.
There you go, an open
Absolutely.
house.
It'd be fantastic for an open
You've
house.
got an open house going. You've got the Shape of Water. So I think that the music is beautiful, and I think it even works without the context of it being in a movie.
I completely agree with that. You could listen to it in a vacuum
Yeah.
and be very
I
entertained.
think if you're going based on what is the best soundtrack, I know I saw that.
Was she
pages
fake
on it.
newsing?
You haven't been to Nathan's parties.
That's
You
true.
haven't
No,
been.
that's true.
I actually
I
the first
haven't.
party
That's why
the first party I held whenever I moved out of my parents' house, I had a bossa nova vinyl playing throughout the night.
I like no. You're right,
How are
Paige.
you
I have
so
not been to
mature?
Nathan's
You're
parties.
such an
I
old
just been
soul.
curious about these parties.
But-
what's bossa nova?
It is Puerto Rican jazz.
Did you not know? You did not know what that
No,
was.
Barcelona.
No, well, no, I
You've
didn't
never
know.
heard.
Barcelona.
I've at least heard of it.
What?
Bossa Nova.
Yeah.
No.
The girl from Ipanema.
You would know it if you
I
heard
would probably
it.
know if I hear it.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
look. You know me. I'm not a big music guy.
You're not super into music.
Not
yeah.
a big music guy. I
Yeah.
have been listening
I
to
would
a
listen to
lot.
that at a
Yeah.
party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's a great
Frank
song.
Sinatra did a
I would
version
listen to
of it.
that at a party.
Yeah.
I want to go to some of Nathan's parties.
Me too.
Do we smoke like tobacco pipes
I feel like we
and
got
like
pipes and like
philosophize?
Crack
Oh,
cocaine. We
crack
smoked
cocaine.
crack cocaine.
Now I'm kind of getting dueling emotions if you're listening to smooth jazz while like on amphetamines, just like cracked out.
Have y'all seen the Fred Armisen's new stand-up? There's a really funny part where he talks about jazz, and he's like, I love jazz, but the problem with jazz is like 30 seconds into it, like I just go, this is just jazz. Like you can never really go with it. Like your mind just blocks out after a while.
You got to do more drugs, and the right kind of drugs, not crack. Crack
Probably
is
not.
not
Crack
jazz
is
for
not
I need
the
to
one.
move away from crack.
That's
Yeah.
probably just going to be solid for your life in general, I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Alexandre Desplat.
So I would say that in terms of what I would listen to or what I would put on for other people, it'd be the Shape of Water soundtrack. I feel like either the Phantom Thread or the Dunkirk soundtrack works better for the movies that they're in. Like
I didn't see Phantom Thread.
If you're not listening, because like if I put on the Phantom Thread soundtrack, people are just anyone is going to be like, "What the hell? am I
What are we
listening
listening
right
to?
now?"
Yeah.
Well, I got a topic for you there, Nathan. You mentioned Dunkirk. They had a heater there in the middle where they seemingly took home 3 awards in a row. Well deserved.
They were going to take the sound stuff. I
Yes, we knew they were going to take the sound stuff. What was the third one that they won?
Editing. Which
Yes.
the editing in that movie. I mean, the editing makes that movie pretty
I
much.
almost thought that Baby Driver was going to get it just because Edgar Wright movies are like so editing heavy, like they rely on the editing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean the aerial fight scenes and everything else in Dunkirk, the very pure storytelling.
They're
in Dunkirk.
switching, yeah, and it's almost. I was talking to someone at AMC when we did like the Oscar marathon thing this weekend, and
I saw your passes that you.
it was
tweeted
really
out.
cool. There was someone who was talking about that he liked Dunkirk the most because it pretty much did what a play couldn't do. It did what a book really couldn't do. It did what. Is purely what a movie could do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's not much of a story, not much of a plot. It's really just an experience of 1 week, 1 day, and 1 hour all cross-cut together. Like that
is some genius editing,
yeah,
isn't
and to
it?
make
I mean, it
work,
really
to
is.
be able
and
to
it
follow
works.
that
They
so
land
wonderfully.
They quite literally land the plane. At the end.
That is a scary scene.
Yeah, it's a terrifying scene. So Dunkirk, though, winning 3, but Christopher Nolan still not an Oscar to Christopher Nolan's name.
I'm kind of
How do you
happy.
feel about this, Nathan?
It's a shame. It's a shame. Like what? He didn't get anything for Inception. Pretty much changed the landscape of blockbuster filmmaking with
He
that.
definitely changed the landscape of trailers. How many times was he?
What was that noise? Yeah.
Watch Call Me By Your Name.
That would have ruined the Call Me By Your Name trailer if they had
100%.
So you had Inception that changed the game.
Interstellar,
Yep.
he which even if you don't like it, phenomenal achievement when it comes to directing. Goodness, what The Dark Knight?
Dark Knight's best superhero movie
And the
still.
thing is, whenever you get an Oscar, it's really good for your career. Guillermo del Toro now is going to be able to make budgets that he's never been able
And
to
it's
get
a
access
really good
to.
point that I had not considered before.
Christopher Nolan has made Warner Brothers billions of dollars.
Yes,
like
they'll
that
hand
man
him
is going to
whatever
be
he
able to
wants.
make whatever movie he wants. He doesn't really need an Oscar for his career, but I feel like he's proved himself.
He's got a little bit of DiCaprio syndrome going on. It will reach a point where he will almost get one by default eventually.
Yeah.
Like the same way that DiCaprio did for Revenant, where they're like, okay, look, we just kind of, it's a great performance. There's nobody else that's
You've
better
needed
this
one
year.
for a while.
Yeah, like we're basically going to coronate this guy. I see that's the path that Nolan's going to take. What have you ever seen? What's his black and white movie? Maybe the first one.
Following.
Yeah, Following is a good movie.
That is really good. It's
I've
only an
not
hour
seen that.
long.
Huh,
Only
I'd get
1
into
hour.
that.
You can see a lot of the seeds that go on to be Christopher Nolan staples in terms of like good editing, kind of keeping you on your toes,
And
a little bit of twist at the end.
that's what I liked about Dunkirk so much, and also partly 3 Billboards. It's like the camera move. I mean, the cinematography is great in Dunkirk, but the way that the story moves and the experimental way that he works with the story, and yet it feels completely natural. I feel like that's what he does best, and he does that in Following with almost no budget at all, and he does it in Dunkirk with $150
When did that
million.
one come out?
It's a really
The
good
Following,
point.
or
Well, I don't know.
Following?
I
While
think
back.
99.
I was thinking, okay.
Yeah.
It's older. I watched it on Netflix forever ago. It's worth looking up. Trying to think about what else.
Adapted screenplay, Call Me By Your Name, which is like a coming-of-age movie of a kid at the age of 17, written by an 89-year-old, which is phenomenal. He captures the spirit perfectly.
It does speak to love and the language of love being eternal, does it not? Even though, look, that's a hard sell. As hard of a sell as Shape of Water is from a relationship standpoint, fish god and mute girl, like
Fish dick.
that's yeah, exactly like that.
Y'all, my favorite
Do you like
part
fish
of
sticks?
that. Y'all, my
What are you,
favorite.
gay fish?
I can't believe. So I had not seen this until Friday. I can't believe neither one of you made reference to this or whatever, other than when we talked about the the thing.
The fish dildo.
When she's like, does he even have something? And she's like,
yeah, it's like it just like
I can't believe
opens
I
up
never,
and opens up and it
but
pops
I can't
out.
believe that neither one of you. Have never seen anyone do that. Like I can't believe.
Well,
that,
guess what? You
This
know
is
what
part
stood
of my
out to me
problem
more
with
than the
Shape of
fish stick
Water.
jokes? The beauty and the love and
I
the
loved it.
classic.
I
know you
loved
loved
it.
it.
I wanted that movie to be more out there. Shape of Water. I
really?
feel like part of there. I feel like there's some
I don't
Guillermo del
think
Toro
so.
vision. No, I need 30 more minutes.
No.
in Shape of Water.
I
No,
did not need 30 more
no.
minutes.
And I know it's already 2 hours. I could go. If you're gonna
It
give
wasn't
me,
because it would be too long. It's not
No.
because it would make it too long. Like I got to a point that very last scene where they're in the water, like I started crying because I thought it was like perfect.
No,
you know,
and-
and I think that if they had added 30 more minutes, like it might not have felt that way.
No, I feel I needed more time. I did. I needed more time, and I hate that I don't like it more because
Yeah.
I love Guillermo del Toro. I absolutely love it. Like,
I mean, look,
have y'all
but
seen
you
Pan's
only have your own
Labyrinth?
opinion.
Pan's
No,
Labyrinth
totally.
is like probably the
So
greatest movie that's come out
You
this
want
century.
30 more minutes in the development, like of their relationship.
Yes, and almost a little bit. Okay, maybe not 30 more minutes. I want the ending to be 5 minutes longer. I felt like the pacing in the last scene was so fast.
Okay,
I felt like it
I can
ended
see
really
where you're
quickly.
going with that. Like they shot the guy, and then all of a sudden,
Well, I love the opening, the way it's so underwater. It really takes its time. It talks about the princess who without voice. It's beautiful, and it takes its time. And I wanted a little bit more of the magic at the end.
I guess the point is, though, you don't really know at the end. Like, if they were to drag that out, then I think that would make a more definitive statement. And I guess we should have said spoilers. You should put a spoiler tag on this when we put it up. So at the end of that movie, when she
Just
gets
spoiler
shot,
right here.
and then it looks like Fish God heals her.
you don't think he does?
I think that if
Well, it leaves it up to you.
Well, I think it leaves it up to you because the narrator is the neighbor. The neighbor is not in the water, so
That's
he
true.
can't know what happens. So my deal is, if you extend that, then you make a more definitive statement saying that, no, this did actually happen.
Oh,
She
you don't
was
have to
healed,
wonder.
and then
guess-
they went to live underwater.
I should say I feel kind of like the information that you get. I think is very good, just from a pacing perspective. I kind of would have liked a few more minutes in that like last standoff.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that the conclusion Michael Shannon gets to, I wanted him to die longer. I wanted him to have a little bit
Yeah.
more of a.
I kind of like it was. I thought it was very in line with his character because he was very kind of, as terrifying as he was very pragmatic the entire movie. And so for him to
Yeah.
just be like, "Holy shit, you are a god," or whatever, right before he died, I thought that was very, very in keeping with his character.
Did y'all notice the Dmitri character, the scientist who is the Russian?
Yes. What's that actor's name?
Michael Stuhlbarg.
Okay.
Stuhlbarg.
Great character actor. He's
yeah.
he's one of those guys where it's like, oh, it's that guy from
from that thing.
the movie.
But he's
Yeah.
in 3 Oscar nominees this year. He was in 3 of the Best Picture. He was the dad in Call Me by Your Name. Which
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
yeah, he was. He
How
has that
he did
beard. He
not
has that salt and pepper
get
beard.
nominated on
He
that
was
speech alone
so
at the end.
good
That
in
might
that
be
movie.
the
Oh.
greatest advice I've ever heard
Like
from any
I was just
movie
like, what a
parent
parent!
ever.
Oh, I know. It's like it makes you sad that like every parent can't be exactly like that.
Yeah, the way
I'm
that
so jealous.
the
I
way
miss
that he
this.
what is it? He
Oh,
says
my
like we try
God.
so hard to stop ourselves from ever feeling anything that by the time we're 30 we
Where
have
you
nothing
feel,
left
we
to
feel
give.
buried. Yeah, like oh gosh, I was like, I wish someone had given me this speech like every day of my life.
I know. You really
And it applies
it's
to
great.
it doesn't just. I mean, it applies to every. You know, just
Oh,
like
yeah,
your
yeah.
life. You know, Ugh.
It's like when Gandalf tells Frodo, when Frodo's lamenting, like he wishes that the ring had never come to him and he wasn't having to go through all this. And Gandalf says, well, so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide.
Kinda
It is
like
for
that.
you to decide
It's kinda
what
like
to
that.
do with the time that is given.
except for it's longer and it's more appropriate.
And it's more for- Hey, I think that's a great quote by Gandalf.
well,
I
he
used to-
was
when I got-
also he was also in the post.
Such
He was
a,
in the
he's
post
such a
as well.
good the parents in general. Man, I loved them.
I need to see Call Me By Your Name, if for no other reason.
I want to live in that movie. I just want to live. It's like in the 80s, like early 80s, and there was like some good talking
Italy.
heads and like
Oh, yeah.
everyone was like smoking and looked cool and like riding bikes. I just want to live. In
Europeans
that movie.
make smoking look very
The
cool.
way it was
Oh.
just somewhere in central Italy.
Yeah,
Like, just-
that's what it said. It was like somewhere in North Italy or whatever. You know, like I
That
just want to
will-
be in that movie forever.
That will be my next big vacation that I take. One day we'll be going to Italy. You were talking about Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, so I think that there were. I'm gonna say that Darkest Hour, The Post. I think that's about it. Those are the only ones that felt a little bit weird that they were nominated.
They were
Like it
just
felt
kinda
like they
thrown
didn't
in.
really have a chance.
Yeah.
So it felt weird that they were even in the conversation.
I guess it's true. Like, do you just have to fill out because there's no set nominee number, right?
I feel like Gary Oldman was kind of a shoo-in from the beginning to get Best Actor. That to not then have the movie up for Best Movie might have been a little bit of a weird dynamic.
That makes sense. Because they're like, I understand that. It kind of legitimizes the movie in a way, and it gives his performance even more weight if people say that it's actually a really good movie.
But I would say, other than those, 3 Billboards, Shape of Water, Phantom Thread, Lady Bird, Get Out, and Dunkirk and Call Me by Your Name are all masterpieces. Great movies. In terms of, we were talking about Call Me by Your Name. If that had one, I think I would have been more encouraged with the state of where the Academy is, because that's been the discussion.
Did you ever
for
see
the last
Lady Bird?
Now I had a question, but you were saying the other day though that the Academy at times can be accused of being too arty, right? And that's why I thought that like Get Out and Shape of Water didn't actually stand much of a chance. If Call Me by Your Name had won, that would have been kind of in vain with the very arty type of Academy feeling.
The movie itself is not all that arty.
Really?
The characters are.
Well, the characters are, and the
pretentious, not in a bad way, but they're
the Italy of it all, and the music.
Well, I mean,
and
the preview's an incredibly
I just
effective
It's almost
preview.
a foreign
live
movie.
in that movie.
Like
man.
they speak English, but other than that, it feels like a foreign.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sometimes they don't, and I love the like seamless transition between like when they're speaking English and when they're not, and like it's just like
Later,
it's very later. They make the Armie Hammer character is from America and he comes in to study or whatever, but they're like making fun of some of his like
his American
tendencies.
slang.
Yeah, and he would like leave the table and he would just be like later, and at one point,
Chalamet.
he's like, don't y'all think that's rude? But at that point, it's because like and that's in the very beginning. So I mean, and I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but he's like almost like annoyed with him, but also like.
But you can tell it's a thing where you're young and you like someone, but
And
you
so
want to
you're
like talk shit about him, so that other people are like, wow, you must really hate
There was like
him.
the little scene where he was shaving his non-mustache. Ugh.
Okay. So let's move on from Call Me by Your Name because no. I really want to see it.
I know. I could talk about it forever.
It sounds like it might be y'all's favorite movie of the year, actually.
I feel like that would have been the best thing from the Academy standpoint. I don't think it'd be my favorite. But what about
you? But what about you? What would you choose as your best picture for this last year?
I feel like I'm gonna look back on Phantom Thread with the most love.
Oh, interesting, because you weren't like. Your initial reaction to Phantom Thread was a little more tempered. It was. I thought it was that it was you. I mean, you definitely didn't say it was a bad movie or anything, but you didn't seem kind of knocked on your ass like you did by Call Me by Your Name.
I must have not articulated that well. I walked around for like 30 minutes after the first time I saw Phantom Thread, just kind of in a daze.
Oh, okay. Did the sadness move in?
And it's here to stay.
Did the sadness move in?
That's a Daniel Day-Lewis interview he did after the movie where he talked about how it
why he's stopping acting
ruined his
after
life.
that movie.
Yeah.
Y'all know he stopped acting one time before and made shoes?
Yeah, but then was that in service of My Left Foot, or what was the movie where he's a cobbler? Like he did a movie where he's a cobbler as well.
I forgot which one that
But
is.
I have heard that he stopped acting and just became a craftsman. That's like the
Very
most Daniel
Day-Lewis
Day-Lewis thing I could possibly imagine.
Well, have y'all seen Darkest Hour or The Post?
No, I didn't.
No, but I want to
Okay.
see the post so bad.
The Post is a lot of fun. It gets really suspenseful in the middle.
Why does the Post feel so unimpactful? Like, I feel like nobody saw it. I know nobody who talks
I know a lot of
talks
people who
about
wanted
it.
to see it, but I don't know that they
The
actually
story-
did. Kind of like me. Like it
The
looks
Post, it was about this time last year that they got the story for The Post, and we're like, the story of trying to silence the news and the press is so relevant that we are putting everything on hold on their production company and put all their power into The Post so it could come out for this year, which feels a lot like Oscar bait. I feel like the problem with the movie is almost how so relevant it is. It feels a little bit.
I guess that was my actually takeaway too. I was actually a bit turned off because it felt so
worst.
Of course, it's coming out now.
Trying to be topical, and then you're like, let's get Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
Right.
I mean, like that.
You're gonna get a nomination if you've got Meryl Streep.
That should be exciting, and it is. Like, I actually want to see those two on the screen together. But at the same time, it did feel very all heavy-handed in the preview stage. I've actually heard that it's not. That it is a very good movie in its own right.
It is,
and that Meryl Streep's great. That Hanks is great. So I'll give The Post a chance. But in terms of my priority list, I think Call Me by Your Name.
But I was surprised that it was nominated.
And Lady Bird.
I thought Darkest Hour was kind of
Did you see
boring.
Lady
I'm
Bird?
really
Did not
surprised.
see Lady Bird.
What
Lady
the
Bird.
movie? What's it? Phantom Thread. I did not see it, so there's that. But tell me what I saw. I guess one of the nominations and the thing I put on Instagram that you responded to. It's like a scene where she's like
Leslie Manville.
I love
I wanted
that.
her
I
to
was like,
win
I'll go
so
see that
bad.
movie now just because of
Where
that one
she's
little line.
telling him to back off. She's
Yeah.
like, I'll knock you down and kill you or
Yeah, I was
whatever.
like, same girl.
No, she says, he tells her to shut up. He says, don't tell me to shut up.
Do it,
I'll-
girl. I'm into that.
He's like, I'll go right through you and you'll be the one that ends up on the floor.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like,
because
what?
the dynamic there is that Daniel Day-Lewis was kind of a prodigy whenever it came to sewing, and he's got a kind of a complicated relationship with his mother. He made his mother's wedding dress for her second marriage, and his sister started being the person that helped him, making all of his dresses, and his mom kind of made it so that he never had to deal with any real life problems because she would always take care of him. And whenever she died, his sister took that role. And
So that was his sister?
that's his sister.
Okay.
So they sometimes when they butt heads, they are as frank as you could possibly be.
Yeah.
I loved it.
But these relationships that he has with these women, whenever he's done with them, he kind of throws them away, and it's Cyril's job, his sister, to kind of let them know, listen, you are not in a
Ugh,
relationship
what a
with this man
terrible
anymore.
job.
You are going to leave now.
All right. Well, so let's talk about Best Supporting Actress then, because it ends up going to Allison Janney of I, Tonya. I saw I, Tonya this week, and I thought it was really damn good. And I actually think this one was pretty well deserved.
Oh no,
She was great.
If I was voting on a ballot, I would put Leslie Manville, but I mean Allison Janney deserved that. She was hilarious. She's got a really complicated role. Like she's an abusive mother, but she also brings a lot of humor with what she does, and you kind of understand.
I, Tonya's got a
least.
lot of humor in it for sure.
Yeah.
It's also interesting to see her just because she's been like a TV actor, like
She's on a
West
TV
Wing.
show right now.
Yeah. She was on West Wing.
Who's
of course,
Anna Faris and her on a show on like CBS right now?
That's what I'm saying. So she's never been that kind of
know that.
high
Television
profile
show.
actor. So
House of
to
Cards.
then now have an Oscar. Congrats to her. That's incredible. I think we should mention Mary J. Blige just because not only was she nominated for Best Supporting Actress,
She looks good.
she does look incredible. She was also nominated for Best Original Song, making Mary J. Blige the first ever woman, the first ever person to be nominated for both a song and movie in the same year.
Like she was singing, and I was like, look at. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's much more to her than how she looks. But
Yeah.
like, whoa, girl.
No,
do your
she,
thing.
yeah. She look, and
She's beautiful.
How old is she now? She in her 50s, I'm guessing.
She's got to be.
Whoa.
But
She
her
does
voice,
make it.
I mean, her voice
I think
and just
so.
everything
Let's
about
do a quick
her.
Google
Ooh.
search.
I feel like the actress in a supporting role was probably the strongest acting category. The others,
What was the whole deal?
well, yeah. So you've got Mary J. Blige, Allison Janney, and I,
Mentioned
Tonya,
Leslie Manville.
Leslie Manville and Phantom Thread,
Uh-huh.
Laurie Metcalf and Lady Bird, the mom in Lady Bird,
Uh-huh.
and
Who also
Octavia
like
Spencer
the
in the Shape of
Roseanne
Water.
background, going to
Yep.
be on the new Roseanne.
Oh, did you see the new Roseanne commercial?
Okay, Mary J. Blige is 47.
Still,
Still.
like, she
Oh,
looks
Still,
great.
She looks
Still
good.
looks incredible.
Did y'all see the new Roseanne commercial?
There is not
I mean,
a show
I'm-
that I could be more unexcited
No, for sure. I'm not gonna watch the new Roseanne show, but like, I definitely was interested to see the commercial.
It was
Like,
kind of. I wonder how they're gonna have, because it's like apparently the exact same set. All the actors are back. What are the kids
There's a few
doing
new
at
ones.
this point?
There's
Why are the
like
kids still living?
the curly-headed daughter. She has a daughter who looks just like her. I don't know how they found this person. They looks like her clone.
there? Darlene.
Darlene, yeah, Darlene has a daughter who looks like her clone. And then there's a couple other little kids running around. So like, obviously their kids have had kids, and
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I
just really crazy. Like
Roseanne always stressed me out
Oh,
when I was
yeah.
younger, and
She's
now
in-
they're trying to play like the.
she's
I don't
incredibly
know.
stressful.
For Christopher Davis, yes, the ending is shocking and weird in Phantom Thread, but I love the way that the relationship, it's a weird dynamic, both very powerful personalities, and the way that a lot of it isn't done through conversation, it's done through looks that you would almost think are throwaway looks,
Like subtle interaction.
building throughout a relationship. So that's why. I know we kind of already talked about Phantom Thread.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
no, absolutely.
yeah. I think I talked about Call Me by Your Name for approximately 25 minutes. So I think you can talk about
good.
Phantom
It's
Thread
great.
for a little
It's
bit longer
great.
if you want.
Best Supporting Actor out of Willem Dafoe is nominated for The Florida Project. Woody Harrelson.
you end up seeing that?
for
I
Three
didn't. I'm
Billboards.
actually, you know what? I think I'm going to watch that today because I forgot that I wanted to see it. And then when they showed the nomination, I was like, I want to watch that. And what's the other one?
Tangerine.
Yep.
Tangerine's really funny.
When you watch the previews, though, not knowing anything about the movies, they look related.
Do
What,
they? I haven't
Tangerine
seen
and
the
Florida
preview of
Project?
If
Tangerine
you've
in a
not,
long
if you've
time.
never seen the movies and you just watch the
I don't
previews, it
think I
almost
know
looks like
what
Tangerine happens, and then the
I
Florida
don't think I
Project
know what
happens.
Tangerine is. But okay, so anyway, though, Willem Dafoe was nominated for Florida Project. Woody Harrelson for Three Billboards. He was so good.
He just
And
is.
Three
main
Billboards.
actor. He's the main actor there.
And his Oh yeah, I guess is he? Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like they might have just campaigned for that because they knew he did not have a chance against Gary Oldman.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I guess I never really maybe it's because he. Spoilers,
I hate when they do that, but
spoilers. Maybe it's because like halfway through the movie he exits the
yeah.
film. Very depressing. His whole character arc is in that movie. I thought he was great. Richard Jenkins, Shape of Water. He was the neighbor. He was excellent. And then Christopher Plummer.
I feel like the
last minute sub for Kevin Spacey.
The background is probably why he got that.
Last minute sub, like he's like on a basketball team.
My mom wanted Plummer to win just to kind of send him off into the sunset. But in the end, it's another one of those. Oh, it's that guy from the movie, Sam Rockwell, who ends up taking home the Oscar. Man, congrats to Sam Rockwell.
I know that he's in a ton of other stuff, but like, what else is he in?
Moon.
He's in Moon.
Moon is
Iron Man 2.
I've not seen Moon. Iron Man 2.
Moon is back on Netflix, and apparently the director just came out with the new movie Mute, which is supposed to be really good on Netflix. Oh,
but he's in a bunch of other stuff.
It's all right. I mean,
but again, it's one of those things where he's like that guy in the movie.
Oh, he's
he's in a bunch of stuff.
He's a good asshole.
Sam Rockwell is an awesome actor.
He's in one of the Iron Mans.
He's around.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the Iron Mans. He's I can't remember what his character is. So Sam Rockwell, congrats to him. He won the Golden Globe and the Oscar, right?
And the SAG Award.
Wow.
So he collected in that category pretty much everywhere.
Was Black Panther nominated for anything? Are they allowed? Are they in?
Year.
Okay, yeah. I don't know where that where's that?
That's I think January. You've got like a week in January.
Okay. I was just curious because they were all there, or all of them, most of them. Michael B. Jordan was not. He was like on Instagram liking a bunch of stuff.
He's filming a lot of stuff right now.
I wonder if Black Panther will. I guess I wonder if it'll make it in the nominations because something like Logan, which is an incredible superhero movie, but it came out at the very beginning of the year. I feel like Logan was completely forgotten.
So I was going to say, this is my question because I never think about it really. Movies that come out this close to that like cutoff point, like after the cutoff point, do they tend to get forgotten? Like, how does it work?
You there's an interesting kind of data study.
I mean, the
on that
biggest thing was Get Out, which came out in February.
Oh, that's true.
Okay,
that's a good point.
That is a good point.
But that's surprising. That almost never happens.
Like that, it almost is like if you want to win an award, you would try to plan your.
That's why the.
That's
why they do that.
Yeah.
That's why all the good movies come out like starting in October.
I'm a movie expert, obviously.
So then that's why you have to. I mean, it's like if you want to. That's like swimming with the sharks, though, right? Because you want to get out for award season, but you better have a damn strong film,
right?
Or you're going to get
lost in the shuffle.
If you want quality movies, that's what your Christmas has to be. Those are. Really good movies come out on Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's so true. Best visual effects: Blade Runner beat out Guardians, Kong, Star Wars, and War for Planet of the Apes. No surprise here.
Every time the Blade Runner thing came on, like anytime that they were like nominated for something or like the thing came on, Kevin was like, "Oh, I hate that movie," and I was like, well, "You haven't seen that one. That's not the one."
I've got to say,
Caitlin actually did the same thing.
That's not the one.
I like Blade Runner 2 a lot more than the first Blade Runner.
Well, that's what I told him. I was like,
I've heard that.
We almost watched it and then we didn't because I was like, "Oh, I don't know." But then I told him that you said that it was better.
It's a lot more fun. It's
faster. I don't know though. You thought the first one was fun.
So the first one was fun.
The first one is a good tone poem. It's like very atmospheric. I guess is the nicest thing you could say.
Guardians of the Galaxy that has the record now for the most visual effects. It took them like a year to build that planet, the Ego planet.
Oh,
there's
so
much
much
detail in that. Yeah.
I mean, no, Guardians was visually stunning.
Man.
Guardians, though, kind of fell a bit short of Volume 1.
Volume 2 felt weird.
Volume 2 was just a lot of the same jokes, just kind of...
Felt like
retold.
Episode 2.
Yeah, very much so. But I mean, it's a solid movie, but I'm okay with it not winning
While we're
best
on
visual effects.
Blade Runner 2049, this has been pretty much a big thing. Roger Deakins, the cinematographer, has been nominated... Well, okay, he was nominated for Shawshank Redemption, Fargo... Kundun, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, The Man Who Wasn't There, No Country for Old Men, The Assassination of Jesse James,
These are all really good movies.
True Grit,
Such good
Skyfall,
movies.
Prisoner, Unbroken, Sicario, never won before. He's
None of those movies?
He never won.
Well, it was for best cinematography, right? You're talking about? Yeah.
Best cinematography.
Still.
So around 2005, people were like, is this guy, like, what's going on? He is never won.
Yeah.
Why is he never winning? And like pretty much every 2 years he'd be nominated, would never get anything. And he finally took it home for Blade Runner.
Oh, that's really cool, man. I almost want to go. I wish I'd known that context so I could go back and watch his speech. I bet you he was probably...
It was pretty, and it was pretty
It would be great
calm.
if that's the guy that won the jet ski, if he got up there and was just like, finally.
Yeah, finally, you bitches.
Yeah, assholes.
Yeah, bitches.
Okay, so best visual effects, Blade Runner 2049, Kong Skull Island. I don't know. I don't
What?
like. I didn't
Yeah,
think the visual
ugh.
effects were great there. I thought Last Jedi actually was a pretty strong contender here. I think there's a bit of Star Wars fatigue though. Like I don't think that like people are too hyped about talking about Star Wars
Can we
too
talk
much
about,
more.
speaking of Star Wars, Mark Hamill? He was kind of obnoxious.
No, dude, that's Mark Hamill's. Mark Hamill's like your quirky, nerdy uncle.
I don't know enough
who
about
makes
Mark
like
Hamill.
all kinds of over the top jokes.
No, and for sure. But this felt so forced.
No. That's not. I'm telling you, that's not forced. That is
You're
Mark
like,
Hamill's.
that's just
that is
him.
Mark Hamill's personality.
Oof.
Look
Don't
at his
you dare
Twitter.
talk
Look
bad
at his
about
Twitter.
Luke
Look at his
Skywalker.
Twitter
No,
and everything.
and I love him as Luke Skywalker. I don't know.
No, but like, look
Uncle
at his Twitter and
Ben.
everything. He is a nerd. He is like a true
No,
like.
it's not the
like-
nerdiness. It was the delivery of like not the nerdy delivery. It looked like he was just reading. It was very deadpan. It was weird.
The Star Wars jokes didn't hit, but I don't think they were on Hamill.
Yeah.
I don't think they had the best material to
That
work
probably
with.
had a lot to do with it. Like the other two, even that were standing up there with him, like I don't know.
I thought
they felt
Hamill
thrown
actually
off.
looked like he was having a great time.
The other
Oh, he looked like
two-
he was having a
well,
fantastic
Oscar Isaac, I don't know the
Kelly
The
Marie
girl.
Tran is it Kelly Marie Tran? Did I make
I
that
really
up?
don't know.
I think so. And then BB-8.
Yeah, watching BB-8 roll out there live.
Time to
action
claim your
is pretty
spot.
Cool. No, get out of here. Okay, so I thought Star Wars maybe actually. You know what? War for Planet of the Apes probably the second contender there in visual effects. You said something interesting about
They just
motion
won't-
capture. Though.
They won't give it to motion capture. It feels like they're
Why?
kind of snobby with Netflix and they're kind of snobby with motion capture.
But they have though. Lord of the Rings, the Gollum that was all
They did
mocap.
for
Andy
Lord of the
Serkis.
Did you say
that
mocap?
Yeah, motion
Is
capture.
that what we call it in the biz?
That is
in the biz.
But that revolutionized it. But I do feel you in that they seem to have an aversion to just full CGI. But I kind of agree with that. Blade Runner 2049, they went out of their way to go practical effects, right? Kind of enhanced with computer effects. I feel that should be awarded. I think that translates the best visually. While War of the Planet of the Apes was actually pretty damn stunning in its special effects. I'll always support. It's like one of the grave errors that Peter Jackson made in going from Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit was he got rid of that mixture of prosthetics and practical and went to just full CGI.
That 48 frames thing was also really weird.
I actually love that, dude. The 60 frames per second.
I thought it felt kind of like it was like behind the scenes footage a little bit.
See, I kind of, and people did say it had that soap opera type of feel. To me, it felt more of a theater type of feel. I felt like I was watching people live on stage. But one thing it did do, it made the special effects so much better than when you watch it at home,
and
because
I
you
know
had
that-
60 frames to edit, so you had more detail.
I
in it.
know that I don't want to spend long on
Yeah,
this.
we don't
but
need to talk about The Hobbit.
the
This is my
gold
fault.
in Smaug, Desolation of Smaug.
Yeah.
Did that? I mean, I thought that looked terrible. The gold scene, it looked almost unfinished.
It was all a little too washed out, which is that same gold color, which is the point because they're on this incredibly giant gold horde. But I kind of see where you're coming from.
All right,
I didn't find Desolation of Smog to be terribly good,
No, that was
unfortunately. Yeah,
But
Battle
okay,
of Five Armies.
all right, that's it.
Bottom line-
We
I don't
dipped
have
in.
much to say about this,
We
but I do
dipped in, we can
enjoy
dip out.
watching you
Bottom
to
line,
do that.
best visual effects, Blade Runner 2049. I like the mixture of practical and
I like when y'all get all nerdy and
CG.
weird.
Best film editing goes to
I
Dunkirk.
thought Dunkirk. That was. I feel like it had to get that. That was Gary Oldman was what gave Best Picture its nomination. I felt like the editing was what gave Dunkirk its nomination.
I know you guys claim like the TV screen thing. I just don't think it
We
being
claim it.
louder. I don't
No,
think
that's
that
not-
it being
that's not it.
louder
Oh no,
That's not it.
would make it.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, okay, well not
I
for
thought it was a
editing.
good movie. Like I'm not. Let me preface this by saying I'm not saying it was. I didn't enjoy it.
Well,
It
hold on.
was a bad movie.
Save that for sound though, because
Okay.
for editing, I agree with what Nathan said
Well,
earlier in the
sorry,
cast.
I was just thinking about it because earlier y'all said that.
Yes, no, or because what Nathan said, the fact that you have a story that takere place over a week,
Yeah,
and then a day,
for
and then an
sure.
hour, and it all ties
For
like
sure.
that's great editing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let's get to then best. Where were they? Won for best sound mix.
Oh wait, can you
and-
explain something to me before we get into
Yes.
the sound stuff? It's about the sound. What is the? I mean, this might be a dumb question. What is the difference in sound mixing and sound editing?
Well, the sound mixer is going to be the person who is collecting every piece of extra sound.
Is that the
And-
Foley artist?
Yes.
That's the person who's
So-
like sitting there. They're watching footsteps, and they're like,
Yeah, and they'll put in every little sound because
they time out everything.
On the set, all they can really capture is the voices.
Yes.
So they go back, and if there's someone walking or if there's like bullets going through, they have to get all those sounds in.
Okay.
How they do it is fascinating too. Have you ever watched Foley behind the scenes? They're so good.
Yeah.
It'll be like a broken bone, and they'll like stalks of celery or just like stupid stuff that you would never expect. Ends up translating into the sound that you're seeing on screen.
That's pretty cool.
So whenever they are finished getting all the sound, they will pretty much hand all of those audio files over to a sound editor who will actually connect it to each piece of film.
Okay. But so is it normal that pretty much every person that's nominated for one will be nominated
No one
for
is
the other?
going to get one and then another get the other.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess I never considered that part of it. Okay, now as far as Dunkirk in theaters goes, to me, more than the sound, although the sound is incredible with a great theater sound system, to me it's really the fact that they filmed it with IMAX cameras, and so when you see it on an IMAX screen, it is enveloping
that's how it's meant to
in
be
a
watched.
way that is unlike anything I've experienced.
On Saturday, I saw it in a regular theater, and it's just not as good.
No.
Okay.
If you're on IMAX, it's the scene wherever, because it feels like a monster movie almost. The way that those planes come down at you, and the scene. Remember the scene whenever the destroyer, where the plane is coming to get the destroyer. It's like the second time it's approaching, and the IMAX camera is thousands of feet in the air and looking right down, and then the plane zoom by.
I have to re-see it.
The way that looks on IMAX, it's not just breathtaking; it's scary.
Really?
It is so oppressive.
Okay.
It almost felt like, I mean, it's really dumb because the IMAX, I think, advertising line is like, be a part of the movie.
Right.
Like, I literally felt like I was a part of the movie. It's like in The Dark Knight, he couldn't afford to do every scene, but in Dark Knight, they filmed like the bank heist in IMAX. They filmed the car chase in IMAX. And if you saw The Dark Knight in IMAX, there was a distinct difference in watching those scenes with the other scenes.
Just even now, thinking about that, it gives me so much anxiety watching that movie.
Dunkirk. Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Just grinding my teeth the entire
time.
time.
Well, if it comes back to IMAX, then
And I think
maybe I'll watch.
and that's kind of the shame about. I mean, that's kind of what's nice about Christopher Nolan. Like, he talked about how he'll never make a movie for Netflix because his movies just wouldn't work on Netflix. Like, he makes movies
for the theater.
But the problem is that not all of us can get there on time.
I agree. Look, I have
a
a kid now. I don't know when I'm going to get to the theater.
We experience it not in that.
Yeah. And that is.
And that's probably why he didn't. That's probably why he didn't win Best Director or win Best Picture.
That's why I don't think he really needs to, because his movies perform better than most in the theater.
Yeah, hey mate, look, Christopher Nolan. When Christopher Nolan's name is attached to the movie, it makes money. He has enough of it. He makes good movies every time. Now to some of the best original score, Shape of Water, absolutely. Alexandre Desplat, we kind of talked about earlier. He was absolutely magnificent. Best original song goes to Remember Me from Coco. I never saw Coco. That's fine, but I thought that Mystery of Love.
I did almost cry last night hearing them play Remember Me. So I mean, it's a good song,
man. I didn't at all.
The Miguel song, was that Miguel?
No, that is the character of like the. I guess have y'all seen it?
Well, the one they performed, no, but the song they performed where it was like a guy on stage with a guitar,
and he couldn't sing, and you're like, oh, this guy sucks.
But like what happened, it was funny when we were watching it. I had a little bit of like fast forward going on, like I'd paused it and I was like, okay, I'm over this. Well, and so I fast forwarded it, but I didn't see the transition between the guy with the guitar and like them opening it up to this like
to the giant stage.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Did y'all see? I'm
just
sorry.
turned black with dreads. What is going on here?
Do y'all mind if I kind of say what?
Oh, go ahead.
No. Here, but you got to talk into the mic, or I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Well, the thing in Coco is that Miguel wants to be a musician, but he can't because his great grandfather left his family to be a musician and never came back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So their family makes shoes. If there's ever a live action version, maybe Daniel Day-Lewis will come back to play Miguel. But so his family's a shoemaker. They're shoemakers, and so he runs away, ends up going to the land of the dead, and discovers that he is related to. He finds his grandfather. His grandfather was a big musician who was murdered for his songs. And whenever he comes back, he returns to his family and goes to his grandmother, great-grandmother, who's about to die. Her name is Coco.
Okay.
And she has dementia. And the whole family, like they're telling Miguel, you know guitars, nothing. You're not going to be a musician. He goes to his grandmother and sings "Remember Me." And she comes out of the dementia for a second and remembers her father, because of
I
that
just got
song.
I show bumps right now.
Yeah.
So whenever I
Oh.
hear "Remember Me," I just get the last scene. You know the way that Pixar movies do. There's like that one scene
There's that
sometimes
one
that'll be like, "Oh my
scene.
gosh!"
Shit, Toy Story 3 made me cry.
Oh,
dude.
my-
Toy
so
Story 3
much.
made me cry.
So much.
That scene with "Remember Me" in it, that it makes a
Okay,
song.
maybe the context.
The
You need
context of the movie is
So,
okay.
so that's almost though why, and I guess it's a movie award, so maybe I'm off base here, but that's almost why I like Mystery of Love more, because without any context, it is the strongest single
still-
song
you
out
still
there.
hear it.
Even in the
Yes.
context of the movie, I feel like "Mystery of Love" is stronger.
I
I
love
mean,
him in
Mystery
it.
of
Remember Me.
Love is like when I literally probably have listened to it now 20 or 30 times. I was listening to it on repeat this morning. It's got this haunting, melancholy yet
But all his
sweet
stuff
type
kind of
of
sounds
vibe.
like that,
That's
though.
I couldn't
all of
listen
who
to.
stuff.
Is it? How do you say? Is it Sufan?
I think so.
Sufjan
I was
Stevens?
saying
Oh, I have no
Sufjan,
idea.
which
I think
is
it's
way
Sufjan.
off base.
No, it's
which is way
that's how it's
wrong.
spelled. That's how it's spelled. But I'm pretty sure it's
S-U-F-J-A-N.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's
You're like,
like
you
as,
still wouldn't have said it.
that's
Sufjan.
as American as you can get.
No, it's Sufan. But he you should
Sufjan.
if you really like that song, T-Bob, and you've
Yeah.
never heard any of his other stuff, you should listen to it. It's like
All right.
he's actually could be wrong. I'm pretty sure most of his music is like Christian based.
Wow.
But you don't know, like you
His-
listen
his
to it
base is
unless
gonna
you're
be
like
pissed off at
really
this.
getting, unless you're like really getting into it, like or it's just more like spiritual. I don't know
Well, like
necessarily if it's
all
Christian,
art
but
for a time was
yeah.
spiritual.
But
based.
I could
his
not-
the way he plays instruments and his voice, ugh.
I don't think they needed the background singers last night, though.
No.
They didn't add to the song
Like,
to me.
he usually
it
is
kind
by
of took away
himself.
from it.
I couldn't listen to it too much after singing it the first time. It was like every time I listened to it, it put me right back in that space, and I kind of had to do stuff during the day, so I couldn't be in
Yeah,
that
you couldn't
headspace.
just like shut it down and
Yeah.
get like melancholy and just
Lost
ruminate
to the, what
on
is
your
it? Lost to
life.
the sadness, or what is it?
No, the sadness came to
The
stay
sadness
and hasn't
came
moved
to
away.
Yeah.
And Daniel Day will never act another day.
Mm.
Let's go down the list. So, song, we talked about cinematography, costume design. I mean, this makes as much sense as any award ever will. A movie about a guy who
Makes costumes.
The
Costumes.
costumes are a character in the movie,
Yeah.
so that
Wait,
was...
can we talk about what award was it? I don't know if we've gotten to it yet. The guy with the terrible suit. It was like 3/4 sleeve, and he had Adidas on.
Oh,
and
yes.
the sunglasses.
It was for it was for best production design. I'm pretty sure.
He had
Oh.
on. He had like a 3/4 sleeve
yes,
with
he had
white.
like sneakers, didn't
he
he?
had the Adidas
He had
shoes
the
on.
bow tie tuck shirt, but with no
but in
tie
the
whatsoever.
background, also, while the first guy was giving the speech, he looks at the other guys and goes,
See, so
"You're on stage, man.
So I thought about that.
Act like you've been there."
That suit was horrendous. Even though I got to say, because he
He
went
rocked it.
so extreme in every piece, it actually kind of worked.
Production designer.
But he's an artist.
He's an
right?
artist.
He's an artist. So he's gonna dress a little. Some artists.
I
are
just
gonna
wish
dress
I
a little
knew like the
crazy.
background of it. You
Me
know?
too. Me too. Me and my mom
Kind
were
of
like,
like,
"What the hell's going
do
on?"
y'all remember whenever what was the song, the Canada song from South Park, Blame Canada?
Yes.
When Blame Canada was nominated, Trey Parker and Matt Stone got
Showed up
high
in
on
dresses,
acid
yeah.
and showed up in dresses.
Legendary. Can you imagine being so comfortable with yourself that you could take acid and go to the Oscars?
No.
In
How
dresses.
in the world?
can't. I
In
wish.
dresses. How in the world would you not have a bad trip?
I wish.
Unbelievable.
I
Those
could
guys
not
are
imagine
awesome.
a situation where I would be.
They deserve like a lifetime achievement award solely for pulling that off without
Did
having
you
to
just
break
get
down.
shorter?
Yeah, I was sitting on my leg.
Oh, okay. I was like, what just
The
happened?
chair shrunk. I was just like, oh shit. Let me see. So makeup and hairstyling, a weak
Yeah.
category this year.
Darkest Hour. I mean, they made him. I mean, he did the like 5-6 hours a day.
No,
thing.
I don't think that. I read it was like 3.5 hours.
Oh,
But
okay.
either way, I don't think it's that they were weak. It's that there were no great challengers here. Like
No.
Darkest Hour
You
had
knew
this
what was
just.
going to win.
You had it wrapped up because Gary Oldman does not look like Winston Churchill, but he looked exactly like Winston Churchill.
I don't know, what was Victoria and Abdul? Why was that in there? I mean,
I have no idea. I don't even know what Victoria and Abdul. Oh, that's the movie with the
It's-
Queen and
it's
the
pretty much the
Oh,
last
yeah.
the
Weinstein
Indian
movie.
guy.
Ooh.
Yeah, can't be having that win. Wonder, I've heard it's very good.
No, Wonder was good. Wonder was good.
I've heard it's very good for parents
Agreed,
to see.
agreed.
Like if you want to know how to be a loving and good parent, like y'all were talking about the Call Me by Your Name Dad, that the Wonder parents
No
are.
one's
You know
better
what the
than
Call
them.
Me By Your Name Dad looked like, just really quick? He reminded me kind of like Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes,
For a
that
second,
actor looks a lot like
for a
Joaquin
second, I
Phoenix.
was
I think
like-
about that all the time.
For a moment, I was like, is that...
Every time
y'all,
I'm
have y'all
confused
seen
as well.
A Serious Man? It's on Netflix right now.
No.
It's a Coen brother movie. That was also up for Best Picture. That was the first thing that gave him his star power.
Okay. I really liked him a lot.
Also shot by Roger Deakins.
I just cannot believe he's the scientist. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the.
It's such a different. I mean, it's like.
And I think
different
he
characters.
played. Actually, let's just keep going. I'm not.
He's
gonna
that
bring
guy
up
from that movie.
Trivia.
Yeah,
okay.
he is. Yeah.
Best original screenplay. A lot of good nominees here. Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, Shape of Water,
Sick.
3 Billboards. Which I'll talk about 3 Billboards in a bit. This is probably where I thought there was the strongest category for 3 Billboards because I did think it was a very original screenplay. However, very happy with the winner here. Get Out, Jordan Peele taking home the Oscar. Some great pictures of Keegan-Michael Key coming out, just being incredibly excited for his boy and his former cohort in Key and Peele.
Almost nothing good ever came out of Mad TV, but we got Key and Peele, and then Peele went on to.
I don't wanna.
I thought I was. Just Tim, what was that guy's name? Yes. Oh my God, Michael McDonald or whatever
Stewart?
his name is. Stewart,
I
not
used to watch
Timmy.
Stewart all the time.
I thought
Look
Stewart.
what I can do.
Dude, why did we think Stewart was so funny? It's like
Stewart
But he
was
still
pretty
is
funny.
to me. Like I
it's
can't not
objectively unfunny. I feel like if we were watching.
Watch what I can do.
Oh my God! And we had Stewart and Alex Sasso before
Who was the fat guy?
before these two made it. The Alex Sasso or whatever.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah, the big white guy, the big fat white guy.
I could never take Andrew McDonald seriously after growing up watching
Andrew
him.
McDonald, that's his name. Yes. So I said Michael McDonald. So anyway, whatever. Jordan Peele from Mad TV, Key and Peele, which was an
honestly
excellent show
didn't
that got
realize he
better
was there.
every single year. Now is an Oscar winner.
Which I think what he pulled off was really incredible.
Yes.
I thought it felt a lot like Rosemary's Baby, the way that like half the movie is this weird paranoid thing that you don't know how creepy this is, like what's really going on, and then at the end it starts off being a metaphor and it works perfectly, and then it really commits into a horror idea, and that even gets pulled off perfectly.
Rosemary's Baby one is interesting to me because you're right. Its greatest feat is it's part social commentary while also being an entertaining movie kind of in its own right.
Yeah.
Like in the same way that I think Rosemary's Baby dealt with a lot of issues like as far as women's rights goes. I mean, Mia Farrow gets pushed around in that movie, like she is powerless basically despite having everything figured out. Get Out is similar in that I think it makes some great statements on race and race relations, but then it's also just like a really good horror movie that's actually pretty scary and funny at the same time. My favorite line of the movie, and they used it in the little vignette, is when he talks about how he would have voted for Obama for a third term because that's
greatest
me.
president of my lifetime.
That's me, kind of betraying
did you tweet
my
something
own.
about that?
I did not tweet something about it, but that would be me, like trying to show that I'm actively not racist, and then just like kind of maybe show some of my own weird.
Yeah. Liberal racism.
Guilty.
Yes, liberal. Yes, exactly.
But it works. It's so much fun watching it multiple times because that was also one that they showed on Saturday. It fits perfectly, and it's so much fun knowing what happens at the end, seeing the way because it works
I would like to go
wonderfully
back and
as a
watch it.
metaphor, and it works wonderfully as just a story on its own.
I would like to go back and watch it for that regard. Ooh, just had a little yawn.
Well,
2 hours of sleep would do
get
that
some more
for you.
sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Best adapted screenplay. Call Me by Your Name. There
Written
you
by an
go.
89-year-old.
Weird.
There you go. The other nominee. Oh, Logan was nominated. I didn't realize that. I missed that. Okay, so Logan did get a nomination in there.
Did you say you
And
didn't like Logan?
I loved Logan.
Oh, okay.
Logan
was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I like
Logan brought me to tears, man.
Yeah, I liked Logan.
Logan was like Logan was excellent. For the lineage of Wolverine movies
Yes.
to close on Logan
Yeah.
is nothing short of a cinematic miracle
Right.
because that is so far and above beyond all the other quality of movies with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like he would be an idiot to ever reprise that character. That character's done now.
I hope he doesn't. I think he's smart enough.
As
to
is Professor X. Like I think
That's it. Yeah.
how cool. One little note from last night's broadcast. So Patrick Stewart gave out the Science and Technical Awards the night before. That room is full of nerds, so they had to be friggin' pumped to have Cap Picard giving them their awards. I thought that was pretty damn cool.
That was awesome.
Best documentary feature. So apparently this was an upset. Icarus
big
won
upset.
about the Russian steroid scandal. There's a guy
Kevin loved that movie.
who writes for, I think, The Hollywood Reporter. He has this mathematical model that he's created using statistics and whatnot to predict Oscar winners. He went 23 of 24 last night. This was the lone movie that he missed.
Who was supposed to win?
I can't remember. I don't know. What was supposed to win, Nathan?
I put Faces Places. I thought that was kind of a shoe-in.
I actually didn't.
Did they put Last Men in Aleppo?
I can't. No, I don't know. I can't remember what was
Okay,
supposed to win.
I didn't see Icarus, but Kevin did, and he loved that.
Icarus
but he's
was great.
He's a cyclist.
He's a biker.
It was
He's
great.
super into it.
I just thought the Netflix thing. I thought they weren't going to give something to Netflix.
The cool part about Icarus to me, and I haven't seen the movie, but I did listen to a podcast with the guy who made it, is how the story came to be where his original plan, he was going to train for a year, do a race, and then train for a year doing steroids and do a race and compare.
It wasn't supposed to be a Russia thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then just through that, he discovers this doctor, and he's kind of tugs on that thread, and then it's kind of crazy how, everything that unraveled after. So Icarus wins Best Documentary. Best Documentary Short Feature. This one's going to be tough to talk about because I don't know any of these.
I didn't. All I saw was the heroin one. I did
Heroin
get that
one
one
just
right.
looked like it would be intense.
It is intense.
Like I don't know how I can handle it. But Heaven is a Traffic Jam on the 405 wins it, which I don't know. That's all very
What a
LA.
great name.
That seems very LA because that's like the most LA thing ever is to talk about traffic on the 405.
I love the name. I would have given it that award just from the title.
I wonder if it's hard to relate, kind of outside looking at production design.
Shape of Water.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
That was a shoe-in. That the production design. Roger Deakins had been nominated so many times. I wanted him to win, but I thought Shape of Water should have won Best Cinematography. The look of that movie, it goes all in.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, you couldn't screw over your
man,
guy
I was
Deacon
so stressed
again.
out. We didn't talk about this Shape of Water. Man, I was so stressed out whenever she like plugged the bottom thing and they were in the bathroom with all the water and it was like coming through the ceiling. I really thought that whole place was going to collapse. I got very stressed for a second.
Me too. There was a little
so
suspension of disbelief for that room to fill up with water.
like that.
And
Oh,
the
it's a fair
manner in
reason.
which
I liked it. I liked
exactly.
it. I liked that when I realized she wasn't going to get in trouble. I felt
thought it
better
was going
about
to get them caught too.
Yes, yes.
Me too.
Ugh,
Me
like, what
too.
an idiot.
100%. So
You know,
Shape of Water
if
wins
some
there.
kids see Shape of Water, they might try to do that. Like, oh my gosh, we can have like a swimming pool in the.
That is some like
I'd be
shit
so
I would have
pissed.
done.
Oh, I would have done that.
I'd
Yeah.
be so pissed if Alice did that. Luckily, he's probably got a while before that. Wait, real quick on Shape of Water. Where was Michael Shannon all night? Was he not at the Oscars?
I didn't know.
Like he was maybe.
I don't think he's ever gone.
Really.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
He seems like a little bit of a weird dude.
Yeah, he's the type of actor who awards,
Just
sure.
doesn't do it for him.
I think kind of like how whenever George Lucas went because Star Wars was up for Best Movie and it was beaten by Annie Hall and Woody Allen didn't even show up because he wanted to play clarinet with his band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is
Wow,
such
the
the
disrespect.
most Woody Allen thing I have ever heard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Clarinet with his band.
He found out because of the paper that was delivered the next morning that he
Okay,
won.
that's insane. Either way, we've talked so much Shape of Water.
Woody
Michael
Allen.
Shannon hasn't been mentioned.
Yeah.
He's so incredible.
He was great.
In that
He
movie.
seems like a strange
Really
dude,
scary. I do love at the beginning the way that the
He's
narration.
just so severe.
Oh yeah, he's so intense.
Severe, and I think that's what makes him so terrifying.
Him chewing those like lemon drop candies, that little
Ooh.
quirk in that movie. It's so intense.
When he
What was it? Whenever he goes to wash his hands,
What you do it before or after?
yeah, he's like, it shows a flaw in character if you do both.
Oh yeah.
But what
yeah.
does it show? Like, why do you do it before?
Wait. So he was saying that it's
You can't do both.
Well, because you're either gonna wash your hands after touching your dick and make it so that you don't get any germs from your dick on everything, or you're gonna make sure that before you touch your dick, you're not getting any other germs from the outside. And that's what's important to him.
Exactly. I think Nathan hit the nail on the head. I think it's like an alpha male thing of like, not only am I making sure that none of you like get to touch my golden dick, but then also like you're all gonna have to touch my dick afterwards. Like my dick is more important than y'all.
I hate that guy.
I know. I
in the
hate him
movie.
too, which is good.
Yeah,
which
that's
means
what-
he did his
yeah.
job. Sound makes sound editing. We talked about Dunkirk, obviously on both. Live action short film. Once again, I didn't see any of these. So I don't
put
have any point of
DeKalb
reference.
Elementary, which is based on a true story of.
Is that from Atlanta? DeKalb County?
I'm not sure.
Huh, I
But
wonder.
it is a kid comes in to his school with a gun, and he fires a few like warning shots in the secretary's office, and it's a conversation between the two of them. She pretty much talks him down, and it really happened. He didn't kill anyone. Everyone was okay, but then he was taken away, and it shows.
It really happened?
Yeah, it shows the mental health degradation that takes place in some of these students, and how pretty much the message is don't bully people. because these people reach a point. Like
Yeah.
they get to this
Right.
point. So really be as loving as you can to everyone. Listen to people that
Just
are
like a
in
good
need.
message.
Yeah, which I thought that was going to win, but what did win? The Silent Child, which is pretty good. This is like the third time in a row where the live-action short film has been about a child with some type of disability.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So
the
for
Silent
next year,
Child-
anyone, please go ahead and make a movie like that.
Did
You'll
you
be good.
did y'all see the people who won the award for the Silent Child?
Yeah, yeah.
That was one of the most beautiful women that I have ever seen in my entire life. And then she's sitting there signing and seeming all like super intelligent. Like you want to talk about an intimidating kind of alpha female character that you see in only a very small window of time. She was stunning, man. And I don't know if that was her husband with her, but
The girl
congrats
in
to you.
The girl in the Silent Child, the Silent Child, is also the deaf girl in War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, and so she's actually deaf, right? And that's
Yeah.
why when she was doing the she was actually signing her acceptance speech, which
And that
was really
that was
cool.
also a great message. It was pretty much like 78% of deaf children are forced to learn lip reading and are not given resources to be able to sign to people. And so it was good. That was good. I like that one.
Best foreign language film, A Fantastic Woman. I hate to be this reductive, but is that a trans movie?
Yeah.
The woman last night that was
That was
up
her.
there on the stage. Okay, so she is a trans.
She is.
Yeah.
She's the first person,
Female.
first trans, openly trans presenter or
think
person.
so.
I would
something
believe.
Like that.
I would believe that. I don't know who else that would be.
It's an awesome movie, a fantastic
Really?
one. It's about an affair that a man is having with this woman, and he ends up dying. And she tries to go to his funeral, tries to be involved in the grieving process, and the family completely shuts her out. Like some of them refer to her as Gordon. Some of them completely disregard, what she is, and she ends up going down this pretty strange adventure into just trying to connect and trying to be allowed to be who she is and grieve for someone she
Right.
lost. It's a good movie.
That's cool.
I thought The Square was going to win, though. I think I like that one more.
I didn't see any of those. Best animated feature. My God, Boss Baby.
when I heard
Nominated.
them say "Boss Baby," I was doing something.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's-
Nathan.
And
when they showed the
Ferdinand.
clips for it, it was like, why is this one of the best? And where is Lego Batman?
Okay, that's come on,
Where is Lego Batman?
I'm not saying that Lego Batman is no Lego movie. Like
Wait, what
Lego
ended up
movie was
winning?
incredible, but
it
Coco
was
ended up
Coco.
winning. Coco,
Okay, yeah,
obviously.
I loved in Lego Batman whenever Ray Fiennes as Alfred goes like, "Sir, I think it's time you face your greatest fear." And he's like, "Snakes?" He goes, "No." "Clowns?" "No, your family." And he goes, "Alfred, now I'm just thinking about snake clowns."
I mean, everything. Did the Miller brothers do?
No, they didn't do that one.
Okay, that's what I was say. They carried over a lot of the humor, but Lego Movie is still a masterpiece. Lego Batman, not a masterpiece, much better than Boss Baby. Loving Vincent, still the coolest story as far as the making of a
Vincent was
movie. I've heard that maybe as a movie though, it's not.
The
best.
story is weak. I
Yeah.
mean, the way it was made is definitely the best thing about it.
That's the draw there. For those who don't know Loving Vincent, Nathan explained it to us. Every single frame of animation is an oil painting in the style of Da
65,000
Vinci.
paintings.
So insane.
Took 5 years, right?
Van Gogh, I think you mean.
Or yeah, what'd I say?
Da Vinci.
Oh God, yeah. Van Gogh. My brain's starting to break down. And finally, I love how we actually just kind of walked into going backwards here. Best animated short film, Kobe Bryant. Taking it
Kobe.
home.
There a little bit.
Kobe Bryant
So
taking it
this
home.
is based on a poem that Kobe Bryant wrote before his last game, and then he narrated
poet.
it, and John Williams did the music for it, and it's fine.
Oh, so you're not the you don't think Dear Basketball should have won?
No, I mean just the Lou, which was the short film before Cars 3,
Yeah.
was really, really awesome.
So
as was
Pixar
Negative
Pixar
Space.
still does those. I guess I haven't
Oh yeah,
been to a Pixar movie in a
you're
minute.
about to go to a lot of them.
Yeah, sure. No, I love kids movies. I have no problem with them. I guess I don't know.
I thought Negative Space was awesome. I really liked.
Should have been the
Negative
winner
Space.
here.
Yeah.
You know what's one of the most interesting animated movies I've ever seen? I can't tell you because now I'm blanking on it.
Do you want to know what it is? Can't tell you.
It's the one where he's at a hotel and he kind of starts up with an affair.
Anomalisa.
Ah, Anomalisa. My God, that's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
That's a good. You ever seen Anomalisa?
haven't.
Ooh.
From the writer of Eternal Sunshine.
One of the
Ooh, I'm into
most
that.
interesting animation styles ever,
Really?
too.
Because he's a writer who's lost touch with pretty much everyone in the world, doesn't really have any human connection, and he is famous because he wrote a book on good customer service. And everyone's voice is the same. Everyone else's voice other than his is voiced by the same guy. And
Same exact face, it's whatever. I mean, I don't want to get too into it, but you should check out
I'll go see.
Anomalisa. Yeah. So I mean, Dear Basketball, Kobe Bryant wins. We kind of talked about it a bit earlier,
well,
but
I would say
says it meant more to him than any of his 5 championships that he won in the NBA. You and Jordy roll your eyes at this. I don't think it's that hard to understand why that's the case.
This cements him as a Renaissance man.
I agree. Exactly.
I think that I can understand it in that.
Plenty of people have won championships.
Look,
nobody's won a championship and an Oscar.
I think that not even that. I think that imagine being really good at something, like whatever it is, you know, and being awarded for it, and like that's still great, and then getting like the top award for something that you never were supposed to do. I don't know. Like I can see that.
Well,
being cool.
I think that's why he likes it
I can see
more.
that being cool, but like at the same time,
I
telling you,
think
man.
it'll be the type of thing, because now I can't. Kobe Bryant is an Oscar award-winning filmmaker.
Yeah.
I've got to learn more about him.
maybe in that it was almost impossible and he did it. You know, like
It's just that it's so unacceptable. And he's always fancied himself as an artist, as an intellectual. It's always how he's been very into fashion. He famously gets lambasted for that really, really funny fashion shoot that he did that one time.
no, I'm sure. No, I'm not trying to take away from it.
This
I'm
has
sure
got to
it
be
meant
incredible
a lot to him.
validation for
Yeah,
him.
for
You
sure.
think he lied? It wouldn't be the first time he lied. It wouldn't be the first time, Kobe.
Oh, Kobe, good on you though. LA's favorite son, 5 championships, and now an Oscar winner as well.
We haven't really talked on the show much. We talked about pretty much everything that's up for Best Picture.
We
Lady
didn't talk
Bird.
about 3 Billboards much, or Lady Bird. So let's start with
think
Lady
those are
Bird.
the
'Cause I
two.
haven't seen Lady Bird.
What did you think of Lady Bird?
I love
Sucked.
Lady Bird.
Yeah.
You did
No, it's
suck.
awesome.
You kind
It's
of
awesome.
you visually you kind of look like the main actress a little bit. What's her name?
Saoirse Ronan.
The
How do you
Irish
say
girl?
it?
Shearsha.
Saoirse.
Saoirse
Okay, I
Ronan.
always say it wrong. I always gonna call her
Saoirse
Saoirse.
Ronan.
Saoirse.
Saoirse Ronan. She's
Saoirse.
Irish.
Yeah.
Saoirse.
Saoirse. Okay, Saoirse.
Saoirse sells seashells by the seashore.
Saoirse.
By
That sounds real.
Saoirse Seashore.
I feel like I have a list. Saoirse. Yeah, no, I can see that. I like her. I liked Lady Bird. I liked the dynamic between the mom and her. Like,
Is she an only child in the movie?
No, she has a brother,
Okay.
but he's adopted. I'm assuming.
I think he's adopted.
And then his girlfriend lives with them, so it's kind of like they have 3 kids. But yeah, no, I liked the
What did you
dynamic
think
between
about the
characters.
mother-daughter relationship?
I mean, it felt very much like how I am with my mom. I mean, not to the like.
You never jumped out of the car.
Yeah, like literally, there's a scene where she just like gets so. But no, I felt like it though. Like that, like when she did it, I was like, man, that's a move I should have tried.
Yeah,
like
it's a
I
scene
got
where-
so close.
The clip that they showed last night, wherever she
Yes.
says, like, give me a number for how much it
I
costs for you to
actually-
raise me,
I'm
and
gonna
I'll
be
pay you
honest,
back when I make a lot of money.
I probably said something like that to my parents before. Like I'm not joking so it's like not that big of a. It's not like that big of a jump
No,
between me and Lady Bird. I was very dramatic,
And I
still am.
I
But
really liked the moment near the end where she's in New York. She's at the party. They ask her where she's from, and she lies.
she lies.
And I guess for someone who's so independent as she is, still feeling that shame, and I guess
Interesting.
But I
thinking
also
back
really
on how much
appreciated-
you don't want to feel that shame.
I also
when you get
appreciated
older.
that very last scene. So then that happens, and then she like goes and gets her stomach pumped, and she was walking around New York or whatever, and then she walks in the church or whatever, and then she ends up calling her mom and like leaving her mom that voicemail. Like I've had those moments too, where I'm just like, I mean, I know I'm a shithead and like I'm a brat and like whatever, but like I really do love you. You know,
An intense moment of self-reflection and honesty.
So I related. I very much related.
Should
to that
Greta
movie.
Gerwig have won Best Director?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I mean,
What
I
she
loved
did was
the
still
movie.
great, and I think
Yeah.
that it is on some of those like honest Oscar ballots. They were saying that what she did didn't feel all that impressive. Like I think that it feels light, and the movie almost feels easy. Like it almost feels like it made itself a little bit, and And I think that's got to be incredibly difficult to do. And
yeah, I mean that probably speaks to kind of the deft touch of a filmmaker to make something seem that effortless.
And she talked. There was one in that Directors Guild podcast when they had her on. She talked about how it's tough to not only be a female filmmaker but an independent female filmmaker, which I obviously it is. Greta Gerwig sounded like she had a little bit more help than most independent female filmmakers. She talked about getting advice from Noah Baumbach, from Wes Anderson, from
she's married
Mike
to
Mills.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah Baumbach, who was able to give her like edits while in bed. So it's kind of like it's tough for female filmmakers. Greta Gerwig probably had a little bit of
but she did stuff before that.
She did a lot of writing.
Yeah.
Before.
But I would not have said that it should have
won Best Director.
Yeah, but I really
no,
liked
good on her. I just didn't know because when they were actually introducing the Best Director award, was it Natalie Portman who said four guys and Greta
Emma
Gerwig?
Stone.
Oh, Emma Stone.
Emma Stone in her power suit.
Yeah. You didn't like it? The deep V?
Look, I get it.
Oh, wait, no, her pants looked like shit. She should
You're
have gone
not
with
at a
all
luncheon.
red pants.
You're not at a luncheon. Like,
I mean, I'm fine with her not wearing a dress, but I would have liked, and I'm just copying what my mom said, and she loves fashion. I don't think the red top with the black bottom should have gone red on red.
It really did make her, and maybe it wasn't the pants. Maybe it was just I didn't like her outfit.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I don't have any problems. I don't have any problems with you making like a fashion statement as far as like not wearing a dress. Like, I don't care about that. But
then she went kind of pedestrian with it.
Yes,
like if you're not gonna wear the dress, like
do the thing.
Do the 3/4 sleeve like our old boy with
Adidas,
the
like whatever.
Like his outfit was better than hers, even though it was way dumber.
No, but you know what else I loved about Lady Bird? Timothy Chalamet.
Oh.
He broke hearts in Lady Bird, and he had his heart broken in Call Me by Your Name.
You know why I liked him in Lady Bird is because I dated that asshole little guy, like who thought that he was so smart and was like always reading something very intellectual and like wasn't a band.
Gosh.
And like
the first time you see him when he's on that car, you just want to punch him. In the
you do,
face.
but like the worst part is like I dated that guy. Like
yeah.
Okay, so Lady Bird, very good. Then,
yeah, Lady Bird was
obviously.
good.
What other movie did we want to talk about before we get out of here?
Billboards.
Oh yeah,
Billboards.
3 Billboards. I did see this weekend. I thought it was very good. I think it's very funny given how dark it is.
I thought it felt like a Coen Brothers movie.
It absolutely felt like Coen Brothers, not just because Frances was in it, but the dark humor, the violence.
I think anytime she's in it, though, it automatically
and that ramps
and
it up as
where
well.
You don't know whether to laugh sometimes or
like be like, ugh, like yeah. So I guess partially one thing that was a little weird for me, just on a personal level, and I don't think this will translate to anybody else, was just after having the kid, I was like, hey, should Alice be in the room for this? Does that even matter? It's a little baby, doesn't know. But then my mom was kind of guilt tripping me about it, so I made her take it. So I think a little of the enjoyment was maybe taken away from me. But I thought it was very good. I think the funniest part is how, spoiler alert, at the end, and it kind of speaks how dark the movie is, that it knows itself very well. At the end, it feels like a happy ending, and you're kind of cheering this group on as you have this completely deranged and broken woman driving a racist asshole, 90% of his body burned up cop to go murder a guy who they think is a rapist based on an overheard conversation in a bar. Like you should not be cheering for those people. You should hate them, and yet you kind of do.
And that's probably my favorite thing, where it starts and where it ends, the way that you kind of feel like these people are bad, but they also have a history and they have baggage, like that pretty much everyone. Like it's hard to
representative of the shades of gray of real life.
Especially with how things are right now, the outrage era where you have an opinion after about 15 seconds.
Yes.
And that is and I just thought it was done. I thought that was pulled off wonderfully, and I think the story I guess
it's like
the way it's
Frances
written is wonderful.
Francis's character, like, I don't agree with her billboards and everything.
No,
like, I get
no.
why she did it, but like, I agree with the town. I mean,
but then again, like,
but nothing happened. It didn't. It's like Chip Wallaby said. It's not like they weren't like.
Yeah.
It's not like it wasn't police
malpractice.
malpractice.
The
but more than
billboards,
anything,
really.
it wasn't about. Yeah, it was more about like her needing to do that and like. I mean,
oh no!
And they even talked about that. Like his
that.
ex-husband said, like, this isn't going to bring her back. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? This is not helping
it was like
anything.
it just had like a release, like a way for her.
Well,
she
and
needed to do
that's
something.
one of the interesting parts of I think about why the movie works is because it doesn't like find the killer or anything, right? Like nothing like that happens. It is completely kind of pointless in the end. But just so that's just another reason why I think the movie is interesting, because you even kind of start out thinking Woody Harrelson may be this corrupt kind of bad guy, and he's actually not.
Not
He's
that
this.
bad.
He's not bad at all. He's an incredible man. Who gets cancer and tragically kills himself.
I know that it was up
Which
for
is-
best.
He's bawling, crying when his wife
those
has to
letters-
go find him, and the letters.
Those letters that he writes to those people, that was absolutely beautiful.
What?
Woody
The
Harrelson.
writing there was
He's so good at acting,
spectacular.
dude. He's so good at acting.
The way that, and that's another thing. You would think if someone kills himself, you'd think, how dare you? But then to think that, that character is going through something that, I hope I never have to go through, but I don't know what that mindset would be.
I just got goosebumps when he says Oscar Wilde and kind of laughs to himself before he does it. It's almost up there with the Craig T. Nelson scene.
And the way how the
You
way
guys
that
are
whenever
crying?
No,
We're on
I'm too
live
tired. I
Facebook
think I'm
right
too
now.
tired. Not enough coffee today to cry.
whenever Dixon figures out what happened. And the thing that his partner
Dixon's
says is,
so
we
broken
need
down,
to
dude.
honor his death. We need to go back to work, because he'd want nothing better than for us to be good cops. And he goes and he throws Welby out the window, which
he in Dixon's messed up mind, he thinks he is like doing a positive
avenging
thing.
him.
But then the letter that he ends up getting kind of changes Dixon for the better. So yeah, it's a great movie, full of shades of gray. I don't know that I feel that Frances McDormand should have won Best Actress, though, actually. I mean, her performance was very good. I think Margot Robbie and I, Tonya was maybe a little bit better. But that becomes a whole weird thing because you're basically impersonating someone at that point, and so maybe that takes away from the performance because you have something very real to base it on. It didn't for me.
Because, the thing is not everybody could do that.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, and maybe they didn't want to go. Yeah, exactly. It's a good point. Maybe they didn't want to go though. I, Tonya for Best Supporting and Best Actress, or maybe they just didn't think objectively that it measured up to Frances's. But I don't want to say I'm not terribly impressed because everything we're talking about was obviously good. That's why it's in the Oscars. But we are splitting hairs. And if I had to be overly critical, I wasn't blown away by her performance. The scene that they show with the deer, I actually thought that was the weakest scene of the movie.
I thought the opening, whenever she's looking at those billboards, and you aren't really sure what her story is, but the way without any dialogue at all, she's able to with the way that she bites her finger a little bit.
That's true. I mean, the performance is probably even better than I'm.
My favorite moment. Well, maybe not my favorite moment, but what I always go to when I think of it is in the restaurant whenever she says, Penelope told me something that really stuck with me, and that's anger begets anger. And then Peter Dinklage looks up and goes, Penelope said begets?
That whole scene was great. I thought for sure she was going to smash that bottle over his head, though. She was crazy. Nobody gets arrested in 3 Billboards.
No,
you can drill holes in someone's thumb. You can firebomb police stations.
Let her go. Let her go.
You can throw guys out of windows after illegally beating the shit out of them.
Yeah,
No problem. I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
and I feel like it feels like the type of small town where everyone knows each other intimately. So you might just be kind of be like, look, let's just
settle this.
You can fire Dixon. We know he's
everyone knows he got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone knows that he beat up the black guy before the movie even started.
Yes.
Everyone knows he's drunk.
I thought, three Billboards was good though. All right. I think. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on? That was.
I think I have a couple more things to say about
Oscars.
Call Me by Your Name.
Like
I could talk about it for a few more.
What should be first on my priority list? Call Me by Your Name or Lady Bird? Because those are the two.
Call Me
by Your Name.
Okay, cool.
Easy.
Cool. I'm in.
Love
I'm
that
in.
waterfall.
Who knows, Nathan? Maybe me and you will have a Call Me by Your Name moment.
I love peaches. Peaches are delicious.
Yeah, wait. Nathan said it's the nastiest ass picture of 2 peaches next to an omelet, and I'm like, what is this palette right
gets
here?
a little intense.
The omelet is from Phantom Thread, which is a big plot point, and then the peaches are
You're
big plot point in Call Me by Your Name.
Gonna have to find out about
Those
that
peaches
peach.
looked delicious.
That's an interesting culinary combination.
I hear that the moment whenever the peach scene happens, whenever he goes to get the peach, I hear that is much more heartbreaking in the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't say anything else.
I actually I would really like to read the book. I think that I would enjoy. Especially that I enjoyed the movie.
I just
so
need to
much.
understand what that line even means. Call me by your name.
You guys.
Yeah, I get it.
Call me by your name and I'll call you by mine.
Yeah, I saw it in the scene in the
Like
video.
if you and I are in the throes of passion and I look at you and I call you Nathan. Isn't that wonderful?
No, that doesn't make sense to me. That still doesn't make sense to me.
What? What are you doing?
Nathan, you can be my Timothy Chalamet.
It's like your heart is so broken for him at the end, but at the same time.
Okay, no more.
Okay.
I don't want to hear you because I want to watch it. And I don't feel that I've really been spoiled. I don't know if you can be spoiled.
I didn't think
on a
he would
movie
sleep
like
with the
that.
fish man at
Yeah.
the end of
Yeah.
at the end there. I don't think that happened.
I'm sorry. Thank you to everyone who showed up. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm losing it.
No,
a little bit,
that's-
y'all.
You are a little bit. I can tell.
I am exhausted. I'm done for 2 hours of sleep. I think it's finally catching up with me. We've been speaking for the last 4 or 5 hours now. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. Part post show, part real friends. 2 hours of
Whatever we
Oscar
want it to
talk.
be.
There it is. That is your post Oscar show. It was a lot of fun. Thank you to Rivers, as always. Rivers Huey. Huge thank you to our resident movie expert, Mr. Nathan Velasquez. He now has Rivers on the Movie Pass bandwagon. I'm the scrub. I got to catch up.
I
Go
know.
see Annihilation.
Dude, I know. Okay, so because my mom's in town this week, my plan is to get her to watch the baby so I can sneak out for 2 or 3 hours and go watch Annihilation. I have to see it. Everybody keep hearing talk about it. Seems like it's right up my alley. And then a big thank you to Joe Rodriguez behind the glass, making the producer work happen. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Spread the word, share the word with your friends. Real friends every 2 weeks.